evening and welcome to Creature Features. I'm your host, Vincent Van Dole. This is my loyal assistant, Mr. Livingston, and the lovely bundle of terror to my left would be Tangela. And you, my darling viewers, are in for a special treat tonight. If you've ever experienced the pure glory that is syndicated television, it is with little doubt you've seen the timeless classic, The Munsters. And if you've enjoyed that fantastic program, you'll remember our favorite vampire, Grandpa, played by the eternally hysterical Al Lewis. While Mr. Lewis is no longer with us, Mrs. Lewis is alive and well and here to chat with us about her memoir, I Married a Munster. Karen Lewis shall captivate us with tales and insights into the life of one of television's most endearing icons. She'll also be joining us for tonight's film, 1958's The Screaming Skull. While this particular film is certainly not one of our prime offerings, it is indeed one of my personal favorites, and it even managed to frighten Livingston for a moment or two.
I was simply startled, sir.
You were scared.
Taken aback.
Oh, ishkabibble. You were visibly shaken.
Not even apprehensive.
In any case, Mrs. Lewis will be joining us for tonight's film and will be assisting me to point out each and every time Livingston is simply startled. So prepare a warm beverage and make yourselves cozy while we share a few important adverts. We'll be right back with Karen Lewis and the Screaming Skull. You were scared, you know.
I was not.
Stay tuned. And welcome back to the show. We are joined once more by the elusive and the illustrious Miss Karen Lewis. Mrs. Karen Lewis. How should I pronounce your front part of your name?
Ms.
Ms. That sounds more appropriate. So, Karen, you have done so many wonderful things, but we're going to talk about only 10 tonight. 10. But we're also going to watch The Screaming Skull, and you've seen this movie. I know you've seen this movie. And but more importantly, we're going to speak about your background in your book.
That's lovely.
Which is titled...
I Married a Munster.
You know, I married a monster, but we will not discuss that tonight. I want to hear about you marrying a monster, but you've done other things as well, right?
Yes, indeed.
Like,
oh, when Al and I were talking about the Munster, that's Grandpa Al Lewis.
Of course.
Played Grandpa on the Munsters.
He was the Munster. I mean,
there you are.
Yeah, the others were all right,
yeah,
but
he and Fred were wonderful. Well, anyway, we met doing a play.
Right.
And that's because I came out of the Bay Area theater scene in the 70s. Because
you're an actress.
Yes, indeed.
And you've done other things too. Like, I remember last time you were here, you told me you like jet skiing. Do I have you confused?
You have me confused with a jet skier.
All right, well, we're going to hear all of this when we come back, but we got to start this film, right? Because if we don't start it, it will never end. And that's not good, right? So let's start this film. You stay here, and you, of course, stay here, and we'll be right back with Screaming Skull and more Karen Lewis. Stay with us.
Welcome, Mrs. Whitlock.
It's lovely, Eric.
You look disappointed for a moment.
I did not. It's really lovely. Oh, look. I bet that's the den there.
That's right.
Is that a bedroom?
Yes, it is.
Gonna be ours?
You'll need some fixing first.
It was her room, wasn't it?
Yes. Come on along, I'll show you the rest of the house. It's rather forbidding now, I suppose, empty like this. But it was usually this way. Shortly after Marion and I were married, she removed all the furniture her parents had left her. This is our home, she used to say, and we must choose everything carefully. Well, we didn't get very far before she died. But now that you're here, it's going to be lovely again. I'll get the things out of storage tomorrow. They're all in town at the warehouse. And I'll take care of that, too.
You have candles?
Sure.
It'll be twice as romantic.
Speaking of being romantic. I got to carry you over the threshold.
I love you. I love you.
Jenny, I thought life had died out for me.
What's that up there?
Oh, that's where Mickey keeps his gardening things.
Who's Mickey?
The gardener. He's kept it up the 2 years I've been away.
By himself?
That's right.
He must work awfully hard.
Oh, he and Marion would spend hours on end working here in the gardens and up in the greenhouse back there. See, he loved her very much. Sometimes I used to wonder who she was, my wife or Mickey's nursemaid. You know, I don't think he quite believes she's gone. I think he expects her to show up one of these mornings and scold her for neglecting the gardens.
You still love her, don't you? No, I'm not jealous. I'm grateful to her. I think to have loved once, really loved, to learn how to love always. Learning it from her, you give again to me. I wish there was some way to thank her. Who's that?
I don't know. They're driving around the back. Come on along.
Eric!
I see Eric.
We stopped by to meet your new wife.
Oh, Eric, this is a wonderful surprise.
It's been a long time.
It has.
Reverend,
Good to see you, Eric.
Jenny, this is Mrs. Snow.
I'm very happy to meet you. Jenny, this is a lovely surprise.
And the Reverend Mr. Snow.
Hello, my dear.
Oh, she's sweet, Eric.
I know.
I happened to be going into town. I ran into Mr. Mauer. He told me you were getting back today.
And we thought we'd just drop by and bring you something for your dinner.
Oh, nice.
And it'll save you all the bother of shopping while you're trying to get settled.
Then why don't you stay for dinner?
Oh, no, not
Oh,
tonight.
no, we wouldn't think of that.
Oh, now, please say
I'd
yes.
like for you to.
It would be like old times.
All right, on the condition that I do the cooking.
You don't have to.
You know, I know that, but I'd love to.
Well, there's Mickey. Excuse me, honey. Mickey!
Ah, poor Mickey. He keeps this place up like a shrine.
Eric told me how he loved Marion.
Mickey's father was a gardener here when Marion's mother was alive. Mickey and Marion grew up together here. Jenny, this is Mickey.
How do you do, Mickey? I hope we'll be good friends.
Well, Mickey?
Thank you, Mickey.
Well, shall we all go inside?
It's a good idea. Mickey, remember you promised me some of those rose cuttings.
I sing you again, Mickey. I'm going to have to get you down to the barber shop one day very soon. Excuse us, Mickey.
And welcome back to the show. We are watching The Screaming Skull, but more importantly, we are watching it with Miss Karen Lewis, former wife, or you're still his wife, I mean, right? Technically?
Well, yes, I'm technically his wife.
Right.
I'm his widow.
You're his widow. I don't like that word.
I didn't either.
Reminds me of Widow Peak. Widows Peak, those things.
Yeah. Oh, you don't like those?
I guess I do.
You
But
do, I know you do.
Not on widows. Like on Dracula. So, Karen Lewis was married to Al Lewis, and you all know Al Lewis. He was Grandpa Munster. Was he really Grandpa Munster?
Yes, indeed, through and through.
No, if you think. It was Herman Munster, right?
Right.
He married Lily. Lily's name was not Munster, so he was not Grandpa Munster. He was Grandpa something, right?
Oh, this is true.
We
It's
should do a
true.
genealogy test on this.
Yeah, there's a fan out there who knows this person's name. It's
If I had a telephone, he
you
could
would
call
know
us right
exactly. Yes, you're right.
now. I mean, he was Dracula, right? I
Right, it
guess.
was some Transylvanian
So
name.
is Grandpa Dracula? I'm confused.
No.
All right, this is a mystery we shall save for later. So the movie Screaming Skull, it's you know, it's nicely done. I don't know if it's a good story, but it's nicely done. But what confuses me is this gardener, which I understand is the director of the film, doing a cameo. He's a gardener, right? He looks too young to be like the crazy old man. He should be updating his tweets in a Starbucks somewhere, I think.
Exactly.
I could be wrong. All right. Enough about the movie for now. We'll get back to that. Let's talk about you. So you met Al in Transylvania.
Not at all. I met him in New York City. We were both
Even better.
we were both cast.
Both spooky places.
We were both cast in a dinner theater production of Neil Simon's California Suite.
I love dinner theater.
It was really fun. But we rehearsed in New York, and then we all flew to North Carolina for the first leg of this show.
So this is like an entire tour.
We played two theaters in North Carolina.
I
Yeah,
guess anything more than one venue is a tour, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're both actors, and
Both
then you
actors.
just like fell in love over hors d'oeuvres.
No, I didn't. I was kind of confused by this man. He was too big. He was too loud. He was too noisy.
People have said that about me. I still managed to get married once.
Right.
So something endeared him to you, right?
I think so.
Well, I would hope so. You married him.
Yes, indeed. But you know, you'd have to ask him to find out what that endearment was.
You know, I've got a Ouija board.
Okay,
We
bring
could
it
try
out.
it. You know, that would be probably the best ghost you could contact.
Super.
He'd be hilarious. He'd be like pushing the planchette off the table and
Yeah.
giving us all kinds of humor. So you were married for forever, I mean, right?
Over 20 years, yeah. I knew him for
That's a
26
long
years.
time.
Yeah. I knew him very
That's
well.
fantastic.
He's a wonderful man. And of course, the other side to this loud, extroverted, funny person was somebody who was very introverted and thoughtful and considerate and high-minded. And
You know, that's a common thing with comedians, I think.
I think so,
You
too.
know, they give out so much on the stage that the rest of the time they have to sort of...
yeah, he used to read for hours and hours. He was very well read. And there are lots of wonderful stories in my book about the other side of Grandpa.
Right.
'Cause
All right,
people
well, we're
knew
going to
him
hear
as that.
about that when we come back from the next break. But first, we've got to get back to the Screaming Skull. This movie does get better, right?
Yeah.
I don't believe you. All right, stay with us.
All right, that's done.
Oh, now please be careful. Oh, Edward, now don't break your neck.
You're doing great, Reverend. Don't worry.
Good heavens. Honestly, the two of them are just like children.
Well, that doesn't look too bad, Eric.
Jenny, I hope you have more luck in getting your husband to mine than I've had with mine.
You know, you've got to admit it does make the room look better.
Very well, Tyson. For penance, you can come and help me with dinner. Now, come on. Edward, you keep Jenny company?
Yes, dear.
No, Mary, no. Send them away.
Huh?
No. Oh, she's so very nice, Eric.
Jenny?
Yes.
Isn't she wonderful?
Yes, she's not at all like Marion, and I think that's for the best. You know, so many men, when they lose a wife, they try so hard to deny the loss they marry someone exactly like the first wife. It hardly seems fair using the living to bring back the dead, does it?
No, I suppose it doesn't.
We make a prison for ourselves out of the past, at least our sentimental, wished-for pasts.
Mrs. Snow,
Yes, dear.
there's something I must tell you and the Reverend.
Well, of course, Eric. What is it?
You see, Jenny has not had a very happy past.
Oh?
And talking about it or about something that might strongly remind her of it, she's very impressionable.
Is there something wrong, Eric?
No, not really. You see, she lost her parents many years ago in a very tragic way. And talking about unhappy pasts only, she's very impressionable. See, I want her to be happy, Mrs. Snow.
Of course you do, and so do we all. Now, how did she lose them? Well, look, I'm not prying, dear. It's just that Mr. Snow and I can help better if we know something about it.
They drowned in an accident. Jenny saw it all.
Who's Mr. Mauer?
Mr. Mauer? Why, he's a lawyer in town.
I thought no one knew we were coming. You said you heard from Mr. Mauer?
Why, Eric wrote him. He takes care of the estate, or what's left of it.
Oh, that's right. Eric has to see him tomorrow.
Well, Eric's co-executor of the estate along with Mr. Mauer. You see, Marion's death was so sudden that, well, all that was left to Eric was the house and these grounds. Mr. Mauer told me that Eric had found someone very sweet and very kind, and with whom he was very much in love. He didn't say enough.
How did Marion die?
Didn't Eric tell you?
I think the subject's rather painful to him. I don't like to make him talk about it. Would you mind telling me? I'd like to know.
It was a rainy day. She and Mickey had been working up there in the greenhouse. She left him to go back to the house for a few minutes. The way we pieced it together after the accident is that while she was coming down this path, apparently it began to rain very hard. She must have run along here. We don't know, of course, what happened then. Perhaps she slipped on a leaf. Base of her skull was smashed. It was thought that she hit her head on the edge of the cement wall where we're sitting. And she fell in there. She died in the water. That's where Eric found her 10 minutes later.
Marion. Marion, you said, Mickey, wait here. I'm going down to the house for just a minute. Wait here, Mickey, you said, and then you went away in the rain, and you didn't come back to play. Man, why did you... What did you...
And don't forget that you and Eric are coming for lunch day after tomorrow.
We'll do better than that. We'll come to church on Sunday as well.
Oh, getting Eric to church is like moving a mountain.
He'll come.
Come along, my dear. It's getting late.
Eric, thank you very much for bringing Jenny into our lives.
Thank you for the dinner.
It was a pleasure. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Edward, did you know that Jenny's very wealthy?
Oh, yes. Mr. Marr told me in town today.
Well, she's not at all like Marion. You know, she's so gentle and timid, as if she were afraid of something.
I knew you'd like my friends, dear. Hey, what's this? Huh?
Just happy, that's all.
Chum.
So happy.
Come on. How are the cots?
Fine.
What are you reading?
Something Mrs. Snow sent over.
Interesting.
It's called Beast in the Jungle. It's all about a man who waited all of his life for something great, wonderful to happen to him. He had only one good friend. It's a woman whom he confided. And she died. At her grave, he suddenly realized that she was the great and wonderful thing that he'd waited for all of his life. But it was too late then. His memories, like a beast in the jungle, rise up out of the past, overwhelm him.
Oh, poor fellow. He doesn't know what he missed.
And welcome back to the show. Miss Lewis had to step out and take an important phone call. You think it was maybe from Spielberg about creating a film version of a book?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Maybe not. How are you, Tangella? You all right? What do you think of all this rain? She likes the rain. Every time it rains, she runs out with no galoshes, no raincoat, and she just splashes herself. This time she did not soil her shoes. What do you think, Livingston? Shall we read our mail? This is mail from you, not from us. Oh.
There's an
we're going to start with
sorry.
there's an attachment. All right. So this one is, oh my goodness. This is from Randy Angle in Martinez, California. Is that really a place?
Yes.
Martinez. All right. And he sent a photo. Look, no, it's a drawing.
It is a drawing,
I'm going to
sir.
show a close-up of this. I take it Randy drew this. That's fantastic. Did you see this? Look. It's beautiful. Look. Except the only problem is her head's the same size
Quite
as
a
mine.
good likeness, my dear.
She's quite smaller than me. But beautiful photo, Randy. He says, "Good evening, Vincent Van Dole, Mr. Livingston, Tangella, and crew." That's the first time we've had the crew addressed. It was so sad to hear about the fires ravaging your beautiful county. It was sad, wasn't it?
Indeed, sir.
I wish all the best to the cast and crew and your families. I saw you guys at Silicon Valley Comic-Con and met you all at CreatureCon. Well, hello again. You guys have a great show and make my Saturday nights lots of creepy fun. Thanks so much for keeping America strong and laughing. I've also included a drawing, the one I showed, for Inktober. Oh, a month of illustration and posting online. Do you know about this?
I did not.
Inktober. Well, we have to celebrate that next year. You guys inspired one of my favorite posts so far. Cheers, Randy. Well, thank you, Randy. Let's make sure we send him something nice in the mail.
Very well.
Don't let her send it, because you know what she does.
I remember the snake incident.
No, yes, it's not good. All right, the next letter is from Daniel Price. He doesn't say from where. Oh, he's from msn.com. Is that someplace we've been?
Microsoft.
Oh, doesn't sound like fun. Dear Vincent and gang, I met you a while ago at CreaturesCon. Oh, all these mentions about CreatureCon. I think it's a good show. We should do that more often. In Moraga. That's right. We did go there, right?
We did.
I thought it was something spelled backwards. And had a great time. I have to confess that at the time I did not know that show back on the air, in so much I don't have TV at the moment, but thanks to YouTube, I've been able to catch all of your shows. YouTube? Really? We're on YouTube?
Indeed.
Oh. Why do we bother to be on television if we're on YouTube?
We'll talk about it later, sir.
Well, thanks for watching us on YouTube. You should watch us on TV too, though. I mean, I think the screen's bigger, because when I look at YouTube, it's only like this big. And if you watch us on a real television, I mean, our television's bigger than that, right?
Indeed.
All right. Thank you, Daniel, and we'll see you at the next CreatureCon. And our last letter is, a short one. I like the short ones. They're pithy. Is from Matt Gallagher from San Jose. San Jose gang. You know, I think we get 90% of our mail from San Jose. Do you like San Jose, Tangela? Have you been? Do you know the way to San Jose? Yeah, I don't. Dear Livingston, oh, this is for you. What does Vincent eat for breakfast? I know what I eat. Do you know what I eat?
Eggs and goat's milk.
You know why? Goat's milk. Because we don't have a cow. And he doesn't like going down to the village below to get milk, so. We've got chickens there, right?
Indeed. Chickens and goats.
She takes care of them. Goats. How many goats do you have now?
33.
I don't know how she does that, but it works. All right, well, thanks, Matt. That's what I have for breakfast, so I'm told. That's it for letters. If you'd like to write us a letter, the address is appearing down in this region. And if you send us a note and we read on the air, we'll make you somewhat famous, or we'll send you a gift. Either one will happen. We don't know which. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Miss Karen Lewis after the break. Oh, that's me. Oh.
Eric? Eric? don't think Mickey looks for her in the pond.
Jenny, now stop it.
I can't help it, Eric. That bad feeling's come back.
I forbid you to talk about it.
She looked like that, Eric. My mother looked like that.
Jenny.
I can't help it, Eric.
Darling, you're just talking yourself into those same old fears.
I've got to talk about it, Eric. I have to talk about
I
it.
forbid you to talk about it now.
Just that with you beside me, I'm alive again. I don't want to be sick anymore.
Honey, look. Now, you mustn't go on thinking like this. Besides, how could a very poorly done self-portrait upset you so much?
I know it's only my own fear. It's my own guilt that I can't get away from. Eric, I'm sorry.
Oh, I want you to listen to me. And I want you to believe me. Now, you were sick once, yes, but you were cured. Mickey caused this. You may as well know. He does look for Marion night after night down by that pond. And he probably comes here afterwards. I'm going to speak to Mickey in the morning. Now, don't you see? How simply it's all explained away?
But if I also heard a scream, Eric, before when I went to the hospital, I was hearing things. I'm hearing them again.
What did you hear?
It was a high, strange scream.
High, strange scream. Like a peacock's cry?
What's that sound like?
Come here. Sound like that? You see? It's all very, very real.
Such a fool.
You feeling better now?
Yes.
Night.
What weird planet are you tuned into? This is absurd. I'm hooked on this book. I cannot put it down, so I'm just going to hold it the entire time. We are with Miss Karen Lewis, Widow's Peak of Al Lewis, and she wrote this book, I Married a Munster. And there's a photo of him. And who is this?
Oh, that's me.
That's you.
Absolutely. Look at the diamond ring on my finger. I just married him.
I was holding the book right side up. No, I see it now.
Yes, that book took 6 years to write.
Well, you should have worn the negligee tonight. It took you 6 years to write this book?
Yes, it did.
Well, it's just packed with information. I mean, I think I'm going to need 2 copies so I can keep one in the loo and one in the reading room.
Absolutely. I see all those books that you have up there, and maybe you could find a place up there.
I haven't read them. They smell.
This book doesn't smell. This book is wonderfully funny and good.
Smells absolutely brand new and fresh off the press, whereas those books, I don't know, they were left here when we acquired the estate and well, everything here. None of this is mine. I mean, it's mine now, but it was all left here.
I see.
Enough about me. Let's talk about you. So, married to Al Lewis. I mean, besides the whole Munster thing, you probably saw lots of wild performances.
Oh my goodness. You know, he was a horror host too. He worked.
He was?
He worked for Ted Turner. He did Super Scary Saturdays.
Oh, I bet he was far better at this than I am.
Well, he had this persona of Grandpa to parlay.
But he wouldn't wear the Dracula suit, would he?
He did.
Oh, he did?
And they made him a little dungeon there in Atlanta.
Goodness.
And he did that for a couple of years.
Is this on YouTube? Can we find a clip so we
Probably,
can show a piece?
probably.
Maybe?
Yeah.
We'll try. Sometimes we
Yeah.
can't get these things.
It's very
What year
interesting.
would that
It's very
have been?
fun. 87, 88.
That's a perfect year. There's so many good movies back then.
Yeah, they did funny movies like you do.
This one is kind of a funny movie, isn't it?
It's very funny.
I know.
You have to have a good
A
sense of
Screaming
humor to
Skull.
get through it. Yes.
How absurd.
Yes.
But I like it.
Yeah.
You know, movies back then were funner. So were TV shows, like The Munsters.
Yes. And even before that, Al did Car 54, Where Are You? Which I think
I love
still
that
holds
show.
up. It's so funny. The writing is so good. He played Schnauzer on that one.
I know.
And that's, I believe, how he got
And
the
then
part.
the tall chap, what was his name?
Fred Gwynn. The two
Fred
of them went off
Gwynn.
to Hollywood to do this, to do the Munsters.
They were just perfect. They
They
were
were
like
good together.
They were like Abbott and Costello, but better.
Yeah.
Because they
were
did
really
not
good.
fight, or did they?
Oh, yes, they'd have
They
these
fought?
conflicts, which, of course, made the
Oh.
shows. Yeah, yeah. Not
Everyone
really
has
fighting,
conflicts.
but
If
yeah,
you have to eat
conflicts.
lunch with someone every day, you're going to have conflict, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
I'm sure they resolved it.
Right.
And he's so much bigger, Fred Gwynn.
Oh, my God.
I'm sure
He's,
Al was a bit more accommodating to his
he's
quirkiness.
6'7". Yeah.
Well, this is
So-
fantastic. We're going to talk about this and the
Oh,
audio book
yes.
when we come back. We've got to go back to the film because we're on the clock here, and I'd rather just talk to Karen Lewis all night and not watch this film, but it wouldn't be much of a creature feature show if we did not show the film. So it would just be interview. show.
Gotta have the film.
All right, all right. We're going back to The Screaming Skull, and we'll be back with Miss Karen Lewis. Stay with us.
We won't be bothered with any of Mickey's nightly visits anymore. I've forbidden him to come into the house.
I was just nervous last night. I wish you wouldn't take it out on Mickey.
Now, he's a child. Must be disciplined.
I'd like him to feel I'm his friend.
Why don't you do some gardening with him while I'm in town? If he sees you're interested, you win him over quickly enough.
Wait a minute. I need a list of staples mostly.
Are you sure you don't want to come in with me?
You get more done without me.
Got to see about the lights, the phone, the bank, and the warehouse people about that furniture. You know, that cop's just about broken my back.
Don't forget to see Mr. Maurer.
I have to see him this evening. It's a bore, but I'll have to see him.
Will you be home in time for dinner? I'll wait for you.
Now, if I'm not, don't you worry, darling. Getting out of Mara's clutches sometimes requires an act of God. I love you.
Hello, Mickey. Oh, look out. You almost cut him. He's a handsome one, isn't he? So cuddly and warm. When I was a little girl, I used to want to be a caterpillar. So I was a very little girl. Here you go. Marion must have loved her gardens. We'll keep them lovely for her always. You know what I'd like to do, Mickey? I'd like to pick some of the nicest flowers and take them to her. Would you like that?
Yes.
Eric told me she was near here. Would you show me where? that all right, Mickey? I'm sure it was a great loss to all of you, Mickey.
She cries
Cries?
in the night.
Dead people don't cry, Mickey.
I heard her.
Heard her? Mickey?
Guests of the show stay at the Flamingo Conference Resort and Spa in Santa Rosa.
How'd the song go again? It was like da 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 da. You know, I should have learned how to play that on the guitar.
Yes.
It was a wonderful theme. It was probably the best theme for a show, The Munsters. We're talking with Karen Lewis, Al Lewis's wife, widow. And that was the best theme of any show of the 60s. It was better than Batman.
I think it was very lively. It had that kind of undertone of klezmer. It was really exciting. People liked it.
Most people don't know about that type of music.
But that's good, right, for
That's
Transylvania
awesome.
and all that stuff?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So you've written a book, and it's a good book, and the cover is fantastic.
The cover was painted by Ernie Hardware Wars Facilius. He's a wonderful artist.
We know Ernie. He's fantastic. This is incredible. He did this.
Yes, he did.
That is fantastic. So this is full of all kinds of stories and anecdotes. Tell us one. Tell us a story about Al Lewis, Grandpa Munster.
There are lots of wonderful stories in this book. It took me 6 years to write. I had to go through all of that history. But one that really stands out, and you can read about it in here, is when Al and I went to the famous Monsters of Filmland convention in Studio City, which is right next door to Universal Studios.
Right.
So we had this wonderful weekend there with all the fans, and one event was a costume party.
Right.
And people all came, all the fans came in different costumes, and Al was going to be a judge. So there was this
Dressed as a judge.
He had his tuxedo on. He could play a judge in a flash, right? He's
Right,
Judge Judy on steroids.
With the wig. With a barrister wig. That would have been perfect.
Perfect.
All right, so he's judging this costume
Yes,
contest.
and there's one person who signs in as John Doe. And he's got a kind of Darth Vader costume on and white gloves. And it circulates through the group that this person under an alias might be Michael Jackson.
The Michael Jackson.
The Michael Jackson, because he's filming Scream on the lot at Universal. Okay, so after this wonderful evening, a man walks by Al and puts a note in his hand and closes his fingers over it. We open it up and it says, "You are invited to go to the studio tomorrow to see Michael Jackson.
The Michael Jackson.
So, of course, we don't know if this is some spoof or whatever it is. And Al says, well, let's just try. We'll get up in the morning. He says, be in the lobby at 9 o'clock in the morning and look for the man with the Michael Jackson baseball cap on. So we got up the next morning and went, drove all through the studio, got out, and this set that Michael was using was like this long tube on stilts. We had to take off our shoes, walk in.
So at this point, you know it's legitimate.
Yeah, we know it's legitimate.
Right.
We get up on the top of this ladder, open up into this spaceship. It's all white, and our eyes are adjusting to it. And here comes Michael walking towards us. Puts out his hand. Grandpa Munster, I welcome you. We're filming. And he took us to the set, and we watched him do this dance with him and with Janet.
Janet Jackson.
Janet Jackson. So that
Lovely.
was really something. She is so beautiful, Janet Jackson, and it's so tiny.
The entire family is beautiful. I think it's in the genes.
I think so. And Al knew them from when they were a team, you know, a musical team.
Jackson 5.
He knew them from then
right.
because they were all in the Valley and Al lived in Hollywood at that time. When Janet saw Al, she jumped up and hurled herself at him, wrapped her arms and legs around him, and just went, oh Grandma,
goodness.
it's really you. And Michael was a little peeved.
She was starstruck.
She didn't like that. He
is
said to
wonderful.
her, I think we have to get back on the set. Let's go again. Places, please. And he wouldn't let them have their moment together at all. So then they did this pas de deux, Janet and Michael, and it was flawless. I mean, he was really a perfectionist. Kind of mechanical at times, but really a perfectionist. And then we heard from one of the staff that we had to be very quiet, we couldn't say anything, and they did it again. They cut, and then we were walked into the other part of this spaceship thing, and we waited for Michael to come and say goodbye. Okay, he came and said how wonderful it was to see us. And then Al said, hey, I thank you for this dance number. I'd like to dance for you. So
Oh, my goodness.
he starts going across the room with his best tap dance routine, comes back with a shuffle off to Buffalo, huffing and puffing. He goes up and goes down into a split, the best he can do, huffs and
How old
puffs
is
some
he at the
more.
time?
He said, 79, I guess, or something like that. And says, there. Michael didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to do. So he said, well, thank you, Mr. Lewis. That was very good. And at your age. So with that.
You know, you almost sound like him. You almost sound like him. That's incredible.
That was incredible.
What an amazing.
So we said goodbye and walked out and went down the stairs and went back to our hotel.
That is insane.
It's right
That's
here in the book.
fantastic. All right.
I tell it a lot better in the
You're
book.
going to tell us another one of these stories when we come back. We're going to get back to the film, but when we come back, more Al Lewis stories from Karen Lewis.
You
Stay
bet.
with us.
She didn't want to die. She died in the winter.
Portions of this program are brought to you by Micromat, making products that keep your Macintosh running at its best.
Off to the loo, off to the loo, off.
Jenny. Jenny? Jenny? Honey? Honey? It's all right, darling. It's all right. I'm right here. I'm right here. Just lie back. That's right. Just lie back. It's all right.
Eric, when you found me, what else was there?
What do you mean, what else?
A skull?
Jenny.
I know there was no skull.
Of course not.
Mickey says Marion cries at night.
Why, that childish, stupid...
Don't blame him. We both hear the peacocks. He, out of his love for Marion, wishes the cry to be from her. I, out of my sickness.
Now, darling, we've been all through that nonsense last night.
Don't you see? I've never imagined seeing these things before. To just stand there and see it. Have it turn out to be nothing. Eric? I want you to call Dr. Ann tomorrow in New York. want you to take me back.
No, Jenny. Now, it may sound selfish, but don't you see, having you to love, I'm happy too. I don't want to lose that. Now, in the morning, Mr. Snow will be here, and we'll tell him. He's very comforting. And I think he'll agree with me.
About what?
I think it's Mickey. You see, he hated me from the first. Marion was his friend, and when I married her, he thought I was taking her away from him. And now that she's dead, taken away from him forever, I suppose in that childish mind of his, I'm responsible for that. And now, because you're my wife, and in Marion's house, he hates you too.
I don't think Mickey's responsible. He's not quick enough or clever enough.
And who?
Myself. It's all in my own mind.
We do need somebody else, darling. We need somebody outside of the confusions of our love for each other. Now, the Reverend Snow will be here in the morning.
Who's in there?
Well, this much is real anyway. Look here, Jenny. You see, this is how you gouged your hand. You say you threw the skull down here where Eric is looking?
Yes.
Did you find anything, Eric?
Nothing yet.
Surely, Jenny, you must agree with me that anything as fragile as a skull would have been smashed to bits down there. And Eric has found nothing. And to assume that the skull would move of its own, all the way from there to the driveway door. Now, Jenny, there's no reason for that.
Don't you see, I agree with you. Did Eric tell you I spent over a year in a sanitarium?
Oh, Eric told Mrs. Snow that you were very impressionable, but that's all. I know lots of people needing a rest go to sanitariums.
This wasn't quite that kind of sanitarium. You see, I grew up loving my father and hating my mother. Well, she never knew it. Something I kept to myself. She was very beautiful. Very gay, like her. Very much. And I knew she resented that I was not more like her. I used to lie awake at night and wish she were dead.
Well, that isn't very unusual. I understand many children go through such a period.
I was no longer a child. And one day, I got my wish. They were both drowned. I can still hear her scream. I was all alone on the little beach. And all I could see was the overturned boat on the top of the waves. And I kept trying to reach them. And the waves kept throwing me back. And then I could hear her cries no more. And then hours later, the men came and searched for the bodies. They were never found. That's when this bad feeling started, this feeling that if I'd really wanted to, I could have saved them, but I didn't. That I really killed them.
No, Jenny. You tried. You tried your very best.
I did. But thinking, begging, praying couldn't make this feeling go away. That's when they took me to the hospital. They told me I was cured.
Jenny.
They told me I was cured.
Mickey? Mickey! you go on. I'll be there in time for lunch.
Well, where do you think he's gone off to, Eric?
Who knows about Mickey? He might be hiding.
You looked at Marion's grave?
Mickey? Mickey! Mickey! Mickey? Mickey! Mickey!
Eric, did you find him?
No. Where's Jenny?
She's with Mrs. Snow on the patio. Eric, I think I should tell you that Jenny has confided in me about the sanitarium.
Oh. Does your wife know? I told her Jenny was impressionable, but not that.
I haven't said a word to her.
Mr. Snow, you can do both Jenny and me a great favor by forgetting she ever told you that.
But, Eric, if it helps explain.
It explains nothing.
If I were you, Eric, I'd take her away. If she's so impressionable and that house frightens her so much, why subject her to it?
Look, I can't do a thing like that. It'd be the worst thing for her. Mr. Snow, it would be admitting she was sick again. I want her to be happy. We'll stay here.
Perhaps you know best, Eric.
See, I've got a simple and old-fashioned piece of philosophy. The only cure for her fear is to teach her she's loved. I mean, really loved. And I love her so much.
God bless you for that, Eric. She's a very fortunate woman having someone like you to care for her.
And welcome back to the show. We are watching The Screaming Skull with Miss Karen Lewis, Al Lewis's wife. And this, it's not a book, it's not a video, it's an audio book. I cannot believe the amount of work you put into this. You know, you told me you're working on this thing, and I thought, all right, you record something, but look at this. It's, how many discs are here?
12.
My goodness. This is like hours and hours of entertainment.
Yes.
This is wonderful.
You know, it's nice for people. They can hear it in their car or in their whatever they use.
You know, my Bentley only has a 10 CD unit. So this might be difficult. I might miss the end. All right, so this must have been a lot of work.
It was. It took us about a year to do it.
And how long did it take to write the book?
6 years.
6 years. All right.
Yeah.
So I think next time you should just do this. Skip the paper. No typing. Just make the audiobook. This is incredible. I've never seen one.
Oh,
I don't do audiobooks. I just like rent the movie.
Oh,
well, and that's coming up, right? The movie?
I really hope the movie's coming up.
All right.
I think
we're going to do everything we can to help, because we all love Al Lewis. You all love Al Lewis, right? Except for maybe 2 or 3 people out there. And they didn't like him because they liked Herman more. That's all. And he was always doing pranks on Herman.
That's right.
Right. All right. Let's get back to this film. We're going to end this soon. It's, what are we watching? A Screaming Skull. And it should end well, right?
Yeah.
We'll see some actual screaming. I hope so. All right. Stay with us, Miss Karen. We'll be right back.
Be night soon.
Oh, Jenny, Jenny.
I'm sorry.
Darling, you've got to believe it will not happen again. Ever. Mickey? Mickey!
Eric. Eric! Stop it!
All right. What are you going to do with that skull?
Stop it! It wasn't his
Where did you
fault.
get it?
Leave him alone.
I'll take care of this, Jenny. Now, I know you don't like me, Mickey. I know you're doing anything to get us to leave here. This idiotic attempt to scare us as if we were children. It was you, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
No, not me, not me.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Come on.
I wish you'd apologize to him. You know as well as I do it's not his fault. It's all in my own mind.
Jenny, I'm going to do something. And you're going to help me do it.
What's that?
That portrait upstairs. It reminds me of your mother.
Yes.
You were fine until you saw it. Now it has you all preoccupied with memories of the past. We're going to burn it.
It's precious to you, Eric.
The picture means nothing to me. I want you to be happy. We can't be until this fear is out of our lives. All right, Jenny. Go on, Jenny.
Let's go back to the house.
It's only the peacocks.
Fire's almost out.
Yes. We can't let those ashes stand overnight. And the brush in these hills are regular tinderbox. You want to help me? Now, you feeling better?
It's as if I destroyed her with my own hands. She'll come back, Eric. She'll come back.
Darling, if you go on talking that way, you destroy the whole purpose. Now, the thing is out of the house, and it's over. You just give it half a chance, and you'll begin to forget it. And if you'll just spread those ashes out a little for me, I'll get the water to it. That's it. What is it, darling?
The skull! It's the skull!
Darling, there's no skull there. There's no skull there, darling. There is no skull there, Jenny. Darling, there's no skull there. There's no skull.
going to be able to catch a plane tonight?
When we get into town, I will call Mr. Maurer. He'll arrange a midnight plane.
Thought there'd be more time. Time for so many wonderful things.
It's going to be all right.
Of course.
It's just me.
It's going to be all right.
Good evening, my dear. Mrs. Snow's hens thought you might like some fresh eggs for your breakfast in the morning. Hello, Eric.
This is a surprise.
Those hens labored mightily, as you can see.
Fine. I'll take them.
You'll excuse me, dear. What is it, Eric?
I've got to take Jenny away. That hospital she was in before.
It happened again?
I thought it would help her if we got rid of that portrait. You know the one.
Yes.
Well, we burned it. She saw a skull in the ashes.
You were there?
I saw nothing, of course.
Of course.
And I thought it was Mickey. But when I was there myself and I saw her... Mr. Snow, there's something I've never told you. I've never told anybody. But when Jenny was put away in that hospital, she tried to do away with herself. I'm terribly afraid.
You think she might try it again?
I know she will. Unless I get her back to that hospital.
When are you going?
Tonight.
We shall miss you. Mrs. Snow and I have grown very fond of Jenny.
Yes, and she of you.
I don't suppose you'll be coming back here again, Eric?
No. Never.
I'll miss him and his wife. He's very kind.
Yes?
When I said goodbye to him just now, he tried to talk me out of what I saw.
How?
He said he felt the skull was real. He's going to bring some men in the morning to search the estate.
Where?
Everywhere. He was just talking, trying to be kind.
I suppose.
I'll go upstairs and pack. You want to come with me?
I'll be up in a minute.
You saw me put it in the pond. You must have. Where is it? I don't know. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. Where is it? I don't know. Tell me the truth. You took it. Tell me. Tell me. Didn't take it. Who? Not me. Who? Mary took it. Mary took it. You and your Mary.
the name of heaven?
Mickey, where did you find this?
Pond?
Well, who put it there?
He did?
Eric?
He did.
Then there was a skull. But Eric said that he didn't see it when Jenny saw it.
I know.
Oh, but why should Eric lie like that?
Mickey, those other times with the skull, did you do it?
No.
Mickey, you've never lied to me before. Lying is a sin. You understand that? You must not lie to me now. Did you do it, Mickey, all those other times?
No.
I simply do not understand that. If it wasn't Mickey,
And it wasn't her imagination.
but why would Eric do such a thing?
I don't know. I just don't know.
Well, what do you think we should do about it?
We're going back there, to that house.
Right.
Mickey? Mickey? Eric and I are leaving, Mickey. I'd like to say goodbye. I'd like to leave as your friend, Mickey. Mickey? Mickey? Jenny, are you all right? Oh, Jenny. Eric tried...
Shh. Oh,
Where is Eric?
Don't. I don't know. I don't know.
I'll find him.
It's all right. Edward, now be careful. Shh. It's all right, darling. Oh, it's all right. Oh, it's all right. Don't cry. Come on.
Eric! Eric! Please answer me! Eric! Eric! Eric, where are you? Eric! Eric! Eric.
Why did he do it?
Your money. The question is now, did Marion die in an accident? I suppose we'll never know.
They're gone. Rest.
And so ends the Screaming Skull. He was killed by his own plastic skull. Isn't that terrible? Does that make you sad? I think it's hilarious. I mean, he had it coming to him, right?
He did.
You know, I like this movie. It's obviously not one of the best horror films we've ever shown, and certainly not one of the best ever made. But, you know, I like the man's car. I mean, the Gullwing thing. I like cars. I do. It's the only way to get around, unless you've got a jet. You know Bon Jovi has a jet.
No.
I'll never have a jet. Someday, maybe. Anyways, enough about me and my jet envy. Let's talk about you and your book. You know, she wrote a book. We've been talking about it. So if you're just tuning in, you missed out. But it's called I Married a Munster.
My Life with Grandpa Al Lewis.
Because she was married to a Munster.
I was.
Grandpa Munster, the king of the Munsters, I think.
He was wonderful.
I mean, he had the thing he wore.
Yes.
It was like a badge of honor.
That's right. He was just a wonderful, wonderful, funny man. So when we were rehearsing for California Suite,
Right.
the people were very excited about what he had done in the past, and they wanted to know all about it. And Jay Hughley was one of the actors who then later made it really big by writing in Hollywood. He did Magnum 5-0.
Magnum P.I.
Yes, I think that's it.
Or
Did all
Hawaii
the big
5-0.
Yeah.
Or did they combine the two?
I don't know. Anyway, I'm messing that up.
I've watched that show.
And he ended up being a big writer, so he was very interested in going to Hollywood.
Right.
So he said, I want to ask Al. He was from Tennessee. I want to ask Al about what it was like working on the Munsters at Universal. So he went over and asked him, and Al sat there and said, working for the Munsters at Universal. Well, Fred and I had it up to here. He cuts his throat. And then he goes on to explain that they had a successful show there, but he and Fred were just tired of all the same gags, the same formulas.
Right.
And they had gone up into the tower and asked them to write better scripts.
And did they?
No. They said, look, we're writing out success. We're not going to do it. And Al actually threatened them. He said, the plane that brought me here can take me back to New York. I want better scripts. And they'd try a little bit for a while, and then they would go back to the formula. And he stressed this by saying, I can't stand any more of those monster jokes. Don't cry over spilt blood.
That was a classic one, though, right?
That was a classic one, yes. And of course, people all love these lines. They love to say them.
I bet he became a bit tired of being not typecast, but at least having to always talk about Munsters.
This is interesting because Fred was.
Oh, he was.
There's another story in the book when I first met Fred, and he said he was not going to do any more Munster-related things. And Al said, I'm sorry, Fred, but my fans are the ones who supported me, and I have to go with them and continue with my Munster work.
And he did.
And he did.
I've seen pictures of him, like,
oh, yes, he would do all of those Halloween shows every year.
He was like Bela Lugosi.
Grandpa
he was like
Munster.
the Bela Lugosi of comedy.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, well, what's next for Miss Karen Lewis?
Well, I've been working on another book.
Oh, tell us everything.
Oh, I don't think I can do that. I want it to be a secret.
It's still in the development stage.
Well, it's a little bit past that. We're getting to editing. But I'd like people to know that it's probably going to be coming out down the line.
Well, they have to buy the first one first, right?
Yeah.
And read that one.
Yeah.
And then when you forget about what you read, then get the audio book, right?
Right.
On 12 CDs.
You know what people do now? They get the e-book and the audio book.
At the same time?
At the same time.
4 options.
So I think
All right,
that's
so
pretty
how did
interesting.
they get this? Where did they go?
You can go anywhere online, the obvious places like Amazon, Books A Million, Powell's Books. It is distributed by Book Baby, so you can also get it at Book Baby. I like them because they like indies. They like independent
I wonder
people.
if Book Baby has baby books.
They do.
Oh,
I know they do.
All right. I don't need one.
But the audio book is distributed through an affiliate of Book Baby, which is CD Baby.
Actually, I think Book Baby is the affiliate of CD Baby because CD Baby came first.
Oh, that's the music. Yes, you're right.
CD Baby came first. I remember back when I was doing music,
Right.
we used them once or twice or 20 times.
They're very, very good.
So, all right. So you don't have a website for me?
No,
Right.
I don't.
All right.
But you can find me on Facebook.
who needs it?
I Married A Munster.
I Married A Munster, and go to Amazon or one of those large distributors.
That's right.
What about locally? Is there a store?
In the Bay Area, you can go to Spectator Books. They have it there.
Oh, it's a lovely store.
And you can go to A Great Good Place for Books.
Oh.
That's in Montclair. And a Book Tree. They have
there
it.
you go.
They're carrying it.
Everything you could possibly need in books, including Karen Lewis's book.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
Miss Karen. Well, you've been an absolutely wonderful guest, as always. We're going to have you again, and you're going to tell us more about this new book when that time comes. Thank you so much for coming. We will see you again soon. And as for the rest of you, thanks for staying up late with us. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. Come back next week, and we might have more surprises, or at least we'll just let Tangela do something silly. See you next time. So, Karen, I was thinking if they were to bring back the Munsters, right? Could there possibly be a role for me?
Huh. Well, you're a little too old for Marilyn, but I think you're young enough to play Eddie.